Hello, my name is Zachery Egan. I am currently a student enrolled in the Associate's Degree in Elementary Education program at Delaware Tech, projected to graduate this spring with a GPA of at least 2.87. I also have an Associate's Degree in Civil Engineering from Delaware Tech, which I acquired in 2002. This is my video application for the Bachelor's of Science in Education program, also at Delaware Tech. I want to begin by telling you a little bit about myself and why I believe that despite starting this journey a little bit later in life, I believe that my personal and professional experiences thus far have provided me with a skill set that I will believe will make me an enthusiastic and effective teacher in the state of Delaware. On the personal side, I'm a 44-year-old male, married, father of three teenagers, all enrolled in public school in the state of Delaware. And on the professional side, I've often found myself in fields where my primary responsibilities are educating my clients or customers on the product or service that I am offering them. A little bit more background on that. I spent the early part of my career in banking and finance, primarily as a financial advisor, which required that I pass a series of rigorous tests to ensure that I understood the financial rules and regulations of that area, as well as how to educate people on how to best form a portfolio that would serve them in the long term. While I was in this field, a vast majority of my clients were actually educators. I did 403B planning for a lot of teachers. The primary role I served was educating them on how to construct a portfolio and how much they need to save for the long-term plan of retirement. Um, from after doing that for a few years, I actually transitioned into a sales role in the automotive field, as my family also grew. Um, in this role, I found that a lot of my job, despite it being ostensibly a sales role, what I'm really doing is educating people on my product, the advantages and disadvantages of my product, as well as the how to use the infotainment systems in my product. Um, I think that these previous paths have provided me with tools to be an effective teacher for a few reasons. First and foremost, I truly believe that every single individual deserves to learn and deserves an education, regardless of where they are in their life, regardless of where they're from, regardless of what they look like. Educate everyone can learn, and I think everyone's actually eager to learn. I think there's a commonly held misconception that people are lazy or that people don't want to learn. But in my experience, it isn't that people don't want to learn. It's that a lot of people have a lot of anxiety and fears built up around learning. People are scared to admit they don't know something that, especially if they feel like they should already know it or that something is common knowledge that isn't really common knowledge unless it's been explained to you. One of my goals in being an educator is to help make sure that everyone is comfortable and confident in their ability to learn and that they'll find joy in the learning process. I think that, people need to understand that everyone experiences anxiety and that it's okay you have to build scaffoldings to help overcome those anxieties and things that get in our way of our learning. Uh, I would also say that I've had a lot of experience working with children. In addition, as I mentioned earlier, to being a father of three myself, that's provided me with a lot of one-on-one experience. My son is 17 and he is a junior in high school. My oldest daughter is 15 and a freshman in high school, and my youngest daughter is 13 and in the sixth grade. During COVID, there was a year and a half where much of their education was done at home on Chromebooks and laptops and their phones. And a lot of the responsibilities of making sure that they were staying on task and that they were accomplishing their assignments and assisting where it needed to be fell on me and my wife. And they had teachers available to them through Zoom, but we were the ones that were right there to turn to help teach them how to do things. And I quickly learned that the way I needed to communicate with all three of my children was different. My son is on an honors and AP path. With him, it was pretty much providing additional information or just a slightly different way of looking at something to get him to want to learn. But with my daughters, they struggled. Both of them are on IEPs for different reasons. And I really had to learn how to break things down differently for each of them, both math and reading and writing. And I think having that experience with the three of them really opened my eyes to the fact that everyone learns differently, but that everyone, if given the time and the patience, can learn. In addition to that, during this associate's program, included over 50 hours of observation in a classroom for this associate's degree. My approach to the observations was to arrive early in order to introduce myself to the teacher, and to be as hands-on or hands-off as they were comfortable with me being. Almost every single one of my host teachers welcomed me into the classroom enthusiastically and was 100% supportive of me integrating myself into the lesson being taught as opposed to just sitting back and observing. While that was an option to just sit back and observe, I really found that I wanted to use the opportunity to get hands-on experience with the classes. And I found that the biggest thing I saw when I went into the classrooms is how different each of them was, in that they were all the same in that they were so different. They all had a variety of students of different um, strengths and weaknesses. From a class, one of the classrooms had someone who had Down syndrome, to one was a class full of multilingual speakers. But there's a variety of students of all backgrounds, and every single one of them, regardless of how much they struggled, was enthusiastic about learning when they liked the subject and when it was presented to them in a way in which they could digest it. I also noticed that a majority of the teachers in school were female. And I do think that that was one area where it's kind of encouraged me to get into education, is I think that for society, a lot of people think that females make better teachers, and I think everyone makes a good teacher. I think students need people of all genders, backgrounds, teaching them so that they can learn, that they can learn from anyone, just as anyone can learn. I did want to discuss some of the challenges I faced, and specifically wanted to focus on one of the challenges I faced in my professional career. Um, my current occupation on its surface is a sales position, but I've found that a lot of the things that I actually do that set me apart from my peers is the way in which I educate my clients about the product that I am selling. I currently sell automobiles, and much like everything else in the world, including in education, um, technology is rapidly evolving. For many of my customers, this is the first time they've gotten a new automobile in 10 to 15 years. And the technology, specifically in the entertainment center, is completely different. There's no longer tape decks or CD players. Everything has to be connected to a phone. Music is streamed. And this requires a whole new set of skills that a lot of them didn't develop earlier in their life because these technologies just weren't around and they've never needed to learn them. I've found that by providing a variety of tools and ways of teaching people, that I've actually become a more effective salesperson. A lot of people just connect people's phones to the car and tell them you're good to go. Whereas I found that actually educating them and explaining the steps to them, but then having them do them, for a lot of my clients, that works much better than me just doing it for them. I've also found that by recording videos and having um, handouts available for customers, that a lot of people learn that way by having a YouTube video posted, which is the same thing as me telling them. They're able to pause, slow down, speed it up, and follow it at their own pace, and sometimes get repeat explanations without feeling like they're asking me to explain things multiple times. By having a video, they feel more comfortable watching it repeatedly. And that taught me that having a variety of ways to teach is important. Not everyone learns the same way. And that's not a bad thing, that's a good thing. And I think teachers, from what I've seen in the classroom and in my own experiences, also understand that. They'll provide books, they'll provide lectures, they'll provide videos and activities, and give all different students all different ways to learn. And I think that that is one of the things I've learned that will make me a very effective teacher. I believe that all of these skill sets and a willingness to learn and to expand my own knowledge are the reasons that I will be an effective educator and a positive influence on my students' lives. I consider myself a lifelong learner, and that my journey as a parent, a student, and an educator have all prepared me to foster an inclusive, student-centered classroom. I'm eager to contribute to Delaware Tech's mission of developing a culturally responsive teacher, which will develop culturally responsive citizens for our society. In a lot of ways, I think that education is in for a difficult journey over the next few years, especially while a focus comes to the much more to the states. And I want to be a part of helping shaping that future vision for, what I know American students can achieve if they are given the ability to do so. I hope this answered all of your questions, and I look forward to talking to you soon.